Let me ask you a question. If I removed you from your business right now, what would happen to it? And I don't mean a year from now or even next month, I mean today. If you stepped away and didn't answer a single message, didn't approve a single thing, stop making all the decisions, would it keep running or just fall apart? And honestly, most founders already know the answer. They are working 12-hour days, stuck in meetings all day and buried in Slack messages. That's why in this video, I'll reveal the 5 systems I use to build a business that runs without me ever having to work on it. And I guarantee that once you implement the systems, you'll be able to step away whenever you want and finally have the freedom you always wanted. So without wasting time, let's get into it. System number 1. Find where the business is running through you. See, most founders think they are grinding 24/7 because there's too much work, and hence naturally they try to look for more hours in the day or another software or productivity that promises to save them. But in reality, the problem is never how much work there is. It's where the work lives, because for the most founders and entrepreneurs, oftentimes the whole plan and all the priorities lives in their head. Now, because of that, every problem that's in the business needs your approval to move. Your business isn't running on systems, it's running on you. You are the software. And that's why you can't step away, because if the software leaves, the whole thing stops. So the first thing you have to do before you fix anything is make the invisible visible. And what I mean by that is you sit down and actually write out every single place where the business runs through you. It can be every decision that needs your approval, every question your team keeps asking, every process that only you know how to do, every client that only talks to you. Just write all of it down. And I tell you right now, when you will actually do this, you're going to be pretty much shocked. Because I bet in your head, it feels like you have 10, 20 or 30 problems, but on paper, it's usually only 1 or 2 problems that are just showing up in 10 different ways. Once you can see it all laid out, I guarantee that you'll automatically stop panicking, because now you have a clear map. Now you know exactly where the business is holding on to you, and the business is now the entire to-do list for the rest of this video. System number 2 is the 3-1 decision rule. Alright, so now that you have got the map, you probably know where the business is running through you. Now, usually when most founders look at that list, the first thing they notice is how much of it is just decisions. Should we refund the customer? Should we approve this budget? Should we take on this project? Or should we hire this person? And oftentimes, every single one of them ends up on your desk, and then you have to spend your whole day answering those questions instead of building anything. And this might sound crazy to you, but a founder once showed me his calendar, and he had literally 2 hours blocked every single day just to approve stuff nobody could do without him. The fix here isn't to get faster in answering decisions. The fix here is to make sure that very few of them ever reach you. And you do that with just 2 simple rules. The first one's a spending limit. Basically, everyone on the team gets to spend up to a certain amount to solve a problem on their own, and they just tell their lead afterward. So for example, maybe your customer service team can spend up to $50 per issue to make a client happy, and your managers can spend up to $500, and so on and so on. Increase the limits the higher up they sit. And after you do this, I promise that hundreds of tiny approvals that you used to do in a week will just vanish, and they will handle it themselves. Now the second rule is even more powerful, which is the 3-1 rule. See, according to the 3-1 decision rule, nobody on the team is allowed to walk into your office with an open "what do I do" question. What they have to bring you instead is a defined problem and 2 or 3 options or solutions that they already thought of, plus the one that they want to go with. After you do this, 9 times out of 10, all you have to do is just say go, because now they have already done the heavy part, which is thinking. And you're not making the decisions anymore. You're just approving theirs. Plus, what that really does over time is it will train your team to think like owners instead of like employees. Because now they have to show up with the answer, not a question. System number 3 is once and done method. Alright, so at this point, you now have got the map. And you have cut the decisions that were flooding your desk. Now, the next thing you have to fix is the actual work you are still doing yourself. And I tell you why most founders never delegate this stuff. Most founders think that by the time they explain it to someone, they could have just done it themselves. It's always the same excuse. But here's the thing, it's actually pretty easy to solve. All you need to do is just apply one small change to how you delegate. And I know that most of you, whenever you hire a new employee, you guys just explain the task live and do the same stuff over and over for every single person you hire. But in the once and done method, all you do is just record yourself doing that task one time. Plus, it doesn't cost you anything extra, because you were already going to do the work anyway. All you need to do is just hit record, screen share the thing you're doing, and talk out loud as you go through the actual thing you're doing. That's it. So here's how you do it. First, write down what done right looks like for that task. Write down 5 or 6 things you would check to know if it's done well. And then you record yourself doing it once. Next, the person you're handing it off to needs to watch the recording, write the steps out themselves in their own words, and bring you the list of questions they have. Because of this, now you know if they actually understood it or if they just watched the video and nodded. After that, you just review their work against your original checklist and coach them from there. That 30 minutes of work you did once is now training the next person, and the one after, and the one after, without you ever being in the room. And trust me, I've seen founders literally record 20 of these over a week weekend and free up their entire next month. System number 4. One name rule. Now, another problem you'll probably run into as a founder is that things keep going wrong in your business even when you have already set up a process for it. So let's say, for example, you're running a content agency and the client comes to you upset about how their deliverables keep getting late. Now, usually what happens here is you go and ask your team what happened, and now everyone just kind of points at each other and nobody has a clear answer. So now it's you who ends up fixing it again, and the same thing happens again a month later with another client. The real issue here was never the process. The issue here was that there was no single person who actually owned it. So when something breaks, nobody feels responsible for it and it lands back on you by default. The fix here is stupidly simple. Just go through every process in the business and put exactly one name next to each. Not two or any team. Just assign one person. And now that person is responsible for making sure it gets done, tracked, and complete. They can still ask other people's help, but they are the ones who are solely responsible for the outcome of this task. Now, many times when founders do this exercise, they often see their own name plastered across half the business. And though that feels bad in the moment, it's actually the best thing that could happen to you. Because that list right there is your hiring plan. It shows you exactly which roles you need to fill next and in what order, because you can literally see which parts of the business are still tied to you. System 5, the month of test. All right, so once you have done everything I've walked you through so far, the very next thing you have to do is to actually test if it works. This is often the toughest part for most founders, because in this step you have to actually step away from the business for a month. Not completely, of course, because you are still the founder. You only check on with the team if a team member genuinely needs you, or if something big pops off with a major client. Then you have to be there. But other than that, you pull yourself completely out. No daily check-ins, no approving small stuff, and no getting looped into every Slack thread or jumping into random meetings. You'll let the team run the day-to-day things and you just observe from a distance. And when you come back a month later, you'll know if all the things you have implemented worked well or not. If the business runs well without you in that month off, then congratulations, you actually did it. Now you have gone from a day-to-day manager to finally being an actual CEO. However, if you come back and things don't look good, don't panic. That's not failure. That's just information. It just means there's still one place the business is quietly depending on you that you hadn't seen yet. So just go back, find it, and remove yourself from it. And then you run the same test again and keep doing that until the business genuinely doesn't need you. And that's it. These were the 5 systems that helped me to build a $5 million business that runs without me. Now look, since you stayed with me till the end of this video, I actually have a small gift for you. We have built something called the Operator Map. It's a free document with 8 simple questions that show you exactly where your business is losing time, money, and energy right now. Plus, it's built specifically for founders in the exact situation like yours. Trust me, I have had so many founders come back to me after they filling this questionnaire and say it was the clearest picture they had over their own business in years. And how then they built the entire escape plan around it. To get it, all you have to do is just DM me the word map on Instagram and I will send it straight over to you. That's all for this one, and I'll see you in the next video.